Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Genesis Mindset. My name is Stephen, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'm actually really excited to present this particular episode. I must admit, I wanted to slow down on the content creation, but when I'm in the flow, I'm just going to go with it. And when ideas are coming to me, I'm just going to present them. And I've been extremely excited about the growth that I'm seeing in Pulsechain. And I really wanted to share that with the community. Again, I really want to be a positive force in the community. I actually probably made a bit of a mistake with the last video. With kind of like a fuddy kind of engagement title, which did have some repercussions, which I'll go through later. But for now, I want to actually just tell this story of what's actually going on, or what I at least see in Pulsechain. So let's get started in the presentation. So as I said, this is the Genesis Mindset. So I'm trying something a little bit different today, a cool little thing, because I really want to emphasize the fact that, again, this is really about mindset. But what I am going to do is I'm actually going to break the episode up with different sections. So if you do want to just skip to particular sections that are only of interest to you, then I will put those, I will actually do that, so you can do that in the YouTube. It'll have the different chapters. So I'm listening to all the advice that I'm getting, and actually based on some of that advice as well, I'd really be curious to know how often you guys would like me to produce videos. I don't really want to do it every single day. I don't have the time. I work 7 days a week, so I'm open 9 a.m. till 10 p.m. So every day I'm doing something, and I'm always doing some sort of social media content. But I'd be curious to see how much you guys would like me to produce content. I'm thinking at least, 2 to 3 times a week if there's things to report on. But if there's not, then don't even bother. So okay, so mindset for investing, trading, and life. So as always, this is personal opinion only. It is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just an opinion, and I'm trying to tell a story that I see. Okie dokie. So today's episode is about Pulsechain is growing. And I want to actually show that through Atropa, Teddy, Shib, and Phame, and this whole ecosystem that's developing around Pulsechain. So what we're actually going to cover today is, first, the principle, the story of what I'm actually seeing, that nature is the truth, and there's no difference between everything in nature and what's actually happening in Pulsechain. And I'm actually going to prove that to you. Evidence of the Pulsechain's growth. So I'm actually going to show you the evidence of how it's growing and why it's growing. And green candles. Just like your friend Somi, our boy, one of our favorite boys in the Pulsechain Hex ecosystem, always says, green candles brings growth. So I'm actually going to show that, and I'm going to give a Pulsechain price update. And then we're going to go through the Atropa ecosystem, teddy bear, Shiba Inu. So really, if you're a Shiba Inu, if you're in the Shib army, or if you know someone who's in the Shib army, share with them this video, because I think this is going to be really interesting for them. Also, the Phame, Phux, Phiat ecosystem that is emerging. Very excited about this. I watched a video today with Corey Costa, Dylan, and Buck, and there's going to be another one coming up with Crypto Sloth and Dylan, where they're going to get into the weeds over the weekend. So I'm really looking forward to that. Crypto Sloth is like amazingly technical guy, so he'll be able to do an excellent job of that. And then just a super quick update on the liquidity providing and why I'm still waiting to do a stream on that. So, okay, nature is truth. Everything in the universe is just a gigantic interconnected web. So everything starts from that emptiness. There's all that gas there, which creates stars, which creates planets, which creates galaxies and solar systems, and suns explode, which creates different minerals that come together and form different kinds of suns, and they explode and create different kinds of suns, and then they explode and create different kinds of suns. And it's all this harmonic symphony, interconnected coexistence of everything in the universe. It's this big story that leads all the way into Earth. So all those minerals that get born in those suns actually comes down to Earth. So in us, we are stardust. All the minerals in us come from stars that are billions and billions and billions of years old. And so the Earth is also a gigantic interconnected web. It starts from a particular point and it develops, and it's billions of years old. But it's this story of evolution, and it's about everything actually coexisting and being this interconnected web. So there's all these different relationships in nature between the sky, between the earth, between things that burn, between things that grow, between birds, between fish, between bacteria, between forests. Everything is interconnected, and it all relies on each other. It's it's really only humans that screw that up. If you take humans out of the equation, nature is perfect. It's just going to keep going on and on forever. And why does it go on and on forever? Because it's perfect. It's a perfect system. And that's exactly what we're trying to create in life. We're trying to create these perfect systems. So even cities are interconnected webs. They're just these dynamic interconnected webs with all these different relationships, all these different sectors that come together to make cities. Without these different sectors, you cannot have a city. So as an architect, I really understand this relationship. A city is not just a city with just buildings, just skyscrapers. Yes, okay, just skyscrapers, of course, but you have things like New York City, but it has people living there, it has people working there, and all different kinds of jobs. And all these different kinds of jobs are performing different roles that upkeep the city. People taking garbage out, people cleaning the sewers, people fixing the roads, people organizing the financial systems, running the banks, running the shops, creating different kinds of shops. They all coexist. Cities are an interconnected web as well, and they all coexist. And so the most fundamental principle is that coexistence is heaven. So when I say heaven, I really mean perfection. Whatever you consider to be heaven, I consider as perfection. Living is perfection. So coexistence is heaven. So everything that coexists works. Things that don't coexist don't work. That's why the current financial system is reaching its end, because it's created by an imperfect human minds. That's why it doesn't work. That's why the financial systems are always changing, because they're not aligned with nature. When they become aligned with nature, and the more they become aligned with nature, the longer they last. But that's why things are starting to collapse now, because it doesn't align with coexistence. It's too much taking. This is not how nature is. Nature is giving. Nature gives. Nothing takes. Everything gives. And so finally, blockchains are the same. So all the blockchains are just interconnected webs. So they're just ecosystems. So Hex was obviously a little bit different. It was unique. A community formed and built up around Hex. So if you want to stay with Hex within the Pulsechain ecosystem, then yeah, you stay with Hex, no problem. It's like the Genesis coin. So the hexicans are like the religious people. They really believe in the origin. And then you've got the government workers who like purely Pulsechain and PulseX. And then you've got the capitalists who want to degen around in all these different ecosystems, the entrepreneurs. So at the end of the day, you can do whatever you like. That's the beauty of it. And I think really what I want to emphasize is I'm really sitting in the camp of the fact that for this community to really thrive and develop and grow, it needs as much of other ecosystems within. And I'm going to provide evidence in a minute as to why I believe that is the case. And really, it should just come down to accepting other people and whatever they like, because you're never going to change people's minds by arguing with them. It just creates this endless stream of negativity, and it actually goes nowhere. It never goes anywhere. So I just think it's a waste of time. So it's no good for you, and it's no good for them. You're actually just you're polluting your heart. Actually, you're actually killing yourself. If you knew that, then you'd definitely stop doing it. But a lot of people don't actually realize that. So it makes me quite sad and frustrated. Let's actually look at the evidence of Pulsechain's growth. So now this is a city here. Again, as an architect, I like using these kinds of examples. For me, it's really, really clear. When you look at this is Barcelona. So 100 AD or AC, I'm assuming that's supposed to be BC. It just starts in this small thing. And then little settlements emerge. Then these different networks start to connect different parts, connecting the farm. So this would have been a castle with everything within it. Then the farms start to connect with it. And then the farms start to sprout up little villages that are working on the farm that feed into the city. Then the city starts to expand outside of the walls. And then it starts to create all these different centers within the city that are all interconnected by these different networks and roads. And then it just keeps expanding and expanding. And then you have this entire globe of interconnected cities, which is globalism. So this is actually a really fascinating concept, because to me, I really see blockchain as exactly the same thing. I see relationships in everything. That's just the kind of mind that I have. So now I want to actually go to okay. So let's again now look at the growth of Pulsechain. So in just a few short months, in 5 months, this is the Pulsechain ecosystem. Somi pointed this out. So this is Pulsechain ecosystem. We got analytics, meme coins, on-off ramps, things like Coast, gaming, PulsePot, wallet, content hub, hex-related things, trading dexes, incubator sacrifices, NFT marketplaces, guilds, Pulsalorian. Oh, that's interesting. Domain names, bridges, privacy. See, I don't even know about all this kind of stuff. Borrowing, yield stake. So that's the degen kind of stuff. This has all been shooting up in the last few days. So this is all in September. So we're a few months into the Pulsechain ecosystem. Corey Costa posted this as well. So showing all the different sectors. Again, if you think about a city, you've got these different sectors. You've got the industrial section. You've got the manufacturing section. You've got the retail section. You've got the urban section. You've got the suburban section. There's all these different sections that coexist that actually create a city. And it's the same thing as this Pulsechain ecosystem. There doesn't have to be division between the ecosystems. It's really, it's an old mindset. I'll be honest. It's an old mindset. It's really, when you clear your mind and you realize, oh, everything is just interrelated, then you don't need to have conflict with people all the time. It's really, it's no good for your health. That's the problem. When you have that hatred and that conflict, you end up storing that in your heart and in your mind, and you're the one that ends up suffering for it. You really need to know that. So again, all these different things that are started developing, this is all being released in September, these different ways of showing it. I'm not going to go through all of them because they're all saying the same thing. KDP connecting the Cardano ecosystem with Pulsechain. So she's basically saying in 4 months, our community is doing what things like Cardano have taken 6 years to accomplish. So the evidence of how powerful this ecosystem is, this community is abundant. I kept hearing this. The Pulsechain community is one of the best communities. And I was like, yeah, they all say that. But I'm actually seeing the evidence of this in the rate that it is growing. And I think that is phenomenal. Then you have Stakehouse also basically saying the same thing, how this bear market has been brutal, but there's signs of life on the horizon with green candles on Pulsechain. You better believe those green candles, baby. We're going to go through those green candles. Hex Scout. This is the kind of stuff we need to be sharing as well. I mean, look at this, the ecosystem of freedom, freedom to save, freedom of speech, freedom to transact. This is brilliant. As a matter of fact, I mean, I've liked this, but I'm gonna repost this. This is brilliant. The simplicity of this imagery. Somebody keeps talking about narratives, which I think is very, very clever. And for me, one of the best narratives I think is going to be real DeFi, especially with everything that's happening with the government and the SEC and trying to control things. And now you're having the institutions that are coming in. They're going to start strangling things. They're starting to get their tentacles into things like Uniswap. People are going to start to clue onto this, and we actually have to educate people that this is what's happening, because people come to this system because they want to escape that system. But when that system starts to ooze its way into everything that we're trying to do, we need to highlight those facts and say, hey, this is actually not real DeFi. The real DeFi is happening here. Look at how much we've grown, this community, how much it's grown, and we really need to educate the community. Another one here, Crypto B. Just all these things that are just popping up. Pulsechain DeFi map showing it in this cool little hive, which, again, hive mind, really cool. So things are really growing. So it's all about, Somi, again, continuously emphasizes this, the network effect. So this was a really good post. Actually, you're not going to be able to see this post, but I strongly recommend you go and read this whole post. I'm not going to read it all, but Money Gang Crypto, an important thread on Metcalfe's law and Reed's law in regards to Pulsechain. So Metcalfe's law says that every time you add a new user to a network, the number of connections increases proportionally to the square of the number of users. Okay, so we have heard this one quite a lot. But the interesting thing that he's presenting is this Reed's law. So networks may grow proportionally to the network size, but there are forming groups that scale faster in value than others because of influence or interconnectedness. That is something that I've only just heard through Money Gang Crypto. So I followed him because I thought that was some amazing alpha. He followed me back. I really appreciate that, Money Gang Crypto. So this is the kind of stuff that you really want to you want to be following these kind of guys. You want to build this story in your mind about what is actually happening in the ecosystem, because if you don't, you're really going to get sucked into the FUD. You're really going to get sucked into the FOMO. So, okay, I'm just going to quickly reshare this. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Now, Smooth and Crypto. I've only just found this channel. He reached out to me the other day and I started watching his content. Really like his content. Very simple, very clear to the point, and short content. I love it. Sometimes things are very long and I try to keep my content short, but his is very short and I really like that. Really clear and simple. So I'm just going to play this little clip from his most recent one of his videos.
I'm going to try to get in a little bit, not too crazy, but I think just having these algorithmic trading bots going on, it just seems like it is only bringing more capital into the system. When no one's making money, right? Everything's down really heavy. The biggest thing is just bringing capital in and having some type of action on the chain, right? We got some.
Okay, so I'll leave that there. I recommend watching the full video, but that principle is connected to what Money Gang Crypto was saying about Reed's law. So, okay, how many communities are you in regards to Pulsechain and cryptocurrency? I'm in quite a few, and I'll tell you, for the last few months, yes, there was the people who have the mindset of DCAing, but really it was very quiet. But now, now there's green candles. People are getting excited. So now money is starting to come into the ecosystem. So just like Somi always says, green candle starts to bring people. So this video is really emphasizing, okay, these different ecosystems that are popping up are creating these green candles in the Pulsechain ecosystem, which is bringing excitement. It's bringing eyeballs, and everything is starting to go up. So now I want to show the Atropa ecosystem again. Just a quick overview, the Pulsechain to Atropa. Pulsechain is starting to have a slight little dip here. It looks like it's bouncing off this massive trend line. So we'll see what happens here. Again, I'm personally hoping that we get a surprise dip down to here. Well, maybe not down to here, but at least a surprise dip so I can DCA more. And then we'll see what's going to happen with the Atropa, whether it's going to bounce from here. I don't think it's going to form a lower low. I think it's going to form a higher low, but we'll see. So at the moment, this is starting to go down. So probably people taking money out of Pulsechain, putting it to the side, waiting for these better dips, and then they're going to start putting it into Atropa. So I think we're going to start to see a rebound here within the next sort of day or two, or even a few weeks within the whole Atropa ecosystem. Now, look at this as well. GoPulse.com. So, I mean, people just make this stuff. What a sick website. This is a beautiful website. It's a fantastic website. Now, this is from the 13th of May, the launch, to now. So obviously we were really dead for a while here for a few months, but now you're starting to see that transaction volume is starting to increase. It's starting to get more and more. So there's more excitement in the ecosystem. Active wallets. Again, it's ever so slight. So there's been a downtrend for a long, long time, but now as of around here, I'm not too sure what the day is. So if this is 13th of May, and this is today, which is 22nd of September, you know, we're starting to see an uptick around the 20th of around September, I would imagine, on this chart. So we're starting to see things slowly flow up. And this is as a consequence of these things that are bubbling up and bringing in liquidity. So instead of throwing shade at each other, let's be grateful that there's these ecosystems that are popping up that are bringing eyeballs, that are getting people excited to actually put money in, because people get bored of just DCAing dips and they start to lose hope as well. So this uptick in activity is very, very exciting. You know, you have all these different, this is again Go Pulse. And again, I want to show this. This is from 6 days ago. HFID Hex, wonderful community member. Breaking Pulsechain is now the 5th biggest chain on CoinMarketCap. Guy paired with Atropa on Pulsechain has also made it the front page of Dex Screener as the 5th most liquid pair in the world, with WPLS and DAI at number 8 as well. So that's fascinating. So Teddy Bear WPLS is also the 12th. So there's more of that tweet there. I recommend following her. She gives a lot of good positive content. KDP is another one. You got Michael, Supo Sailor, Suppo Man rather. So even in the space of 6 days, I do believe that this has gone up. I've seen other ones where it's gone up from 5th. So, you know, you can find some really good people on here. Hexologist, another guy in the community, but I really wanted to show Kaiser. Where is he? He was on here as well. He's one of my real favorite hexicans. Oh, where is he? My Hexican and Pulsicans. He was here before. I wanted to show his tweet because it was such a good tweet. Why has it been? Oh, here we go. Kaiser Crypto. The community is what is pushing us to the next level. The community is the future. What is Richard Hart most proud of in Hex? Hexicans are amazing. Best community in crypto. Like, repost if you agree. You know, someone like Kaiser, again, I try and saturate my consciousness with positivity, not negativity. I get bored of that, and it's like, ugh, this is not doing me anything good. People like Kaiser, get onto his Twitter. He has a lot of positive content. He does a lot of clips of really good YouTube videos. I would strongly recommend following Kaiser. Okay, so let's continue on. So now, Shiba Inu. So I'm going to show you my little tweet from the other day. So Teddy Bear compared to Shiba Inu. So This is something that B Roots and Ian always talk about on their stream. So I follow their stream. I watch it as much as I possibly can. And I was saying, are we in the fourth stage of the next run where Shib did over a 50x? So I've actually loaded up 2 or 3 positions. And so I do DCAs in threes. So I'm actually waiting for a 90% dip now from the all-time high. So I'm just showing how, okay, here we go. So this little 1 section looks very similar to this 1 section. This 2 section here looks similar to this 2 section. This 3 section, okay, this is where I was like, okay, so could the 3 section be from here to here in Shiba Inu? Could it be from here to here? Who's to know? It's difficult to speculate, but I've put it to this point because I didn't really see any big dip, whereas here we did see a nice big dip here. So this is a big retracement, and this was a final big retracement before it went sideways for quite some time. And so I think this is where we are in the context of this. And also, on B Roots and Ian's stream, the Crypto Kings, they did actually mention that the market caps were very similar. So we're still at the beginning of a bull market, but this is starting to bring green candles. This is starting to bring excitement. So Shiba Inu Army, keep your eyes on what's going on here because it has the same token supply. This is very exciting, Teddy. It's very memeable. The community is excited about it. But not only that, in case you guys don't know, you've got tokens already on the Pulsechain ecosystem. So this is the Shib copy that you would have got in your MetaMask. This is some pretty juicy price action. Now, it doesn't have the same value as your Shib on Ethereum. That's what makes it exciting. Come over to Pulsechain. Come over, create some liquidity pools, start degening in this ecosystem. We have so many opportunities that are developing in this ecosystem. And I'm just going to show you just a couple. So obviously there was the Atropa ecosystem. So you've also got the Phame, Phiat guys. So this is a fork of Aave, by the way, which basically kicked off DeFi summer. So they went ballistic, and now we have this on Pulsechain. So this is somewhere where you can leverage, you can borrow against all sorts of things, and they're going to be releasing Famous in, I think Buck was saying very, very soon, within the week, hopefully. My apologies, Buck, if that's not correct, but I think that's what he was saying. So I'm very much looking forward to that as well. And then you've got Pulsechain. So this is PulseX rather. So all the different liquidity pools. So I've actually been experimenting with liquidity pools. So I've got some with the Atropa tokens, the random Atropa tokens, which really seem to be this whole ecosystem of this bot that just keeps pumping the whole system. So you can start pairing your tokens with these tokens, with Atropa, with PDAI, with even WPLS. You can start creating unique liquidity pools like I've done, where I've created them and I've got 100% ownership over them. Just I'm experimenting. I have no idea. I put like $10, $20 into these ecosystems. It's not much because I experimented with this particular one and I noticed, hang on a minute, this one that I created, for some reason, my TRSI that I've put in has doubled and my hex has doubled. So it's negated any impermanent loss. Yes, this still fluctuates, but it's not subject to, it's not like a downside because of the impermanent loss. Whereas all these other ones, they're fluctuating slightly with the impermanent loss. And I can't understand why. I'm trying to figure this out. This is also why I haven't created another video for the WPLS. Sorry, for the liquidity pairs. Okay, finally. Right, on the liquidity pair. So this actually really sucks. So the Atropa ecosystem on Telegram, they banned me because they were saying I was really fudding. And oh man, it sucked. It really disappointed me because I've learned a lot from that Telegram ecosystem. It's been the juice for a lot of the content that I've been producing, and my videos have got thousands of views in the last few weeks. And I was really quite surprised that there was people who had that perception that I was fudding. And I've tried to talk to people to try and get me back in there, but unsuccessfully. So it's really a shame. So I do apologize to whoever feels like I've fudded, but it's really not what I was doing. I was really that's just my character. I ask questions so I can understand. And then what I'm actually trying to do is address those negativities, because you know what? You can bullshit people and say, oh, you give them a narrative that in the back of their mind, there's always this thing in the back of their mind that's like, yeah, that's a half truth. It's a lie. Whereas if I address what those potential negativities are and give a positive spin on it, then people can overcome that naturally. And that's what I'm trying to do by learning. So I've been cut off from my source of learning from Atropa, which really sucks. But in terms of the liquidity pairs and liquidity pools, if people want to connect and learn with me, please reach out to me on Twitter. And let's connect, because I'd love to connect. So follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. Send me a message, and I'd love to connect so we can nut this thing out, because I'm really still trying to figure it out. And on all of this, so the last video actually did talk about risk because I think it's a very important thing to understand. But I loved this comment by Osprey 1978. So he says that I stated, never invest more than you are willing to lose. That's a phrase that sets limitations on dreams born out of risk, where risk is essential to living and equally essential to realizing goals out of reach for the majority. This is exactly why I'm in cryptocurrency, because I have taken exceptional risk and I've accepted that risk. And so I think there's a lot of people who are in my age bracket and younger also taking exceptional risk, because we are looking at the financial system going, hang on a minute, things the way that they are, we're never going to be able to catch up and we're never going to be able to outpace inflation. Things are only going to get worse. So we're actually looking at this going, hang on a minute, the real risk is staying in that system, working 9 to 5 and buying a house. Maybe this is way less risky if I don't buy a house and I put all my money in crypto, go through a bull run. Even if I take out like 10%, 50%, if I play my cards right, I can end up buying a house straight up and I'm not enslaved to a mortgage. I mean, that's phenomenal. And then he continues, financial, physical, mental, and spiritual all require at some point more than you are willing to lose in order to develop fully. Completely agree with that. The meditation that I do is all about letting go of what's in your mind. It can be a difficult process because we're so attached to our mind, but the treasure at the end, when you find your true self, my God, we hear not financial advice. We hear don't invest more than, et cetera, et cetera. But the reality is that those phrases are born out of litigious thinking in order to protect the reputations and income streams of those that present opportunities. So I thought that was a really wonderful comment to leave it on, because at the end of the day, yes, it is important to understand the risk, but basically when I'm talking about risk, you need to understand it from the perspective of what you can handle. So me, I can handle a lot of risk. I know that it's just a mind, so I can just get over it and I can just discard it. I can meditate on it and clear it away from my mind. But if you're someone where it's going to cause you sleepless nights, you need to know, according to yourself, how much you can actually risk. But again, I think that was a great statement to finish everything on. So thank you very much, everybody. Please reach out in the comments. I'd love to know how much you'd like me to produce content and whether or not this content is resonating as well. I'd really like some honest and genuine comments so I can really develop my content based on that. So again, thank you very much, everybody. Have a lovely weekend.